Once again, welcome to this session, and thank you all for making time to attend this session. I will give the floor to my colleague Arthur, and we will kickstart this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedrick, for giving the floor. So, do you hear me all, dear participant?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I will put my picture so that we can see my African face. Okay, once again, good morning, good afternoon, or good morning, or good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are currently. My name is Arthur Carindal. I'm the head of stakeholder development at AFRINIC. I'm really honored to welcoming you again at this first AFRINIC MIRA project working group quarterly update. So the first one is that we are attending for is for September 2021. So this meeting of today will cover some updates on the MIRA Internet Resilience Index, MIRA port deployment and hosting, and MIRA ports data visualization. For recall, the MIRA means measuring internet resilience in Africa. And this project is a joint initiative between AFRINIC and ISOC, with the goal of evaluating the capabilities of any countries in Africa to provide a stable and reliable means of internet connectivities at all times. Okay, so the current scope of this important project include, among others, collecting and analyzing data to determine the current level of internet resilience in African countries, developing internet measurement infrastructure in Africa by increasing the number of measurement vantage points that we call MIRA ports that are active in Africa. And another point is visualizing the data for users, okay, at all levels. It can be policymakers, engineers, network operators, decision makers, even internet users. So this is here the scope of what MIRA, okay, has to do, okay, with in Africa in collaboration with AFRINIC and some of you. Before ending my remarks, I would like to thank the AFRINIC Internet Measurement Working Groups, the AFRINIC and ISOC for this collaboration that end up with to catalyze, okay, the digital transformation on the continent. As such, dear participant, I would like to invite you to register and participate actively into the AFRINIC working group on internet measurement, so that all of you and all of us can take the internet, Africa internet, to the next level up. Thank you very much for attending this first session, and I count on you, okay, to make this session very vibrant through your question. And we are here to support you for any concern you may have, and or can be any clarification. So thank you very much for attending these first meetings. So I would like to thank you again for your attention, and I give back the floor to Cedrick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur. Thank you for this introduction remark. I will now give the floor to Kevin will be our moderator or our co-moderator along with Amreesh during all this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedric, and thank you, Arthur. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for making time for this measurement working group meeting. This is a first meeting this year, but we're hoping to have this as a quarterly event, so maybe one every 3 months. And the purpose of this is to engage the measurement community in Africa and also provide an update to the work that we are doing on measurements with AFRINIC. If you're on this call, you've probably already attended one of our measurement presentations that were held earlier this year. You've probably also gotten to view our slides and presentations. So today we thought of not giving a very presentation dense activity, but rather walk you through some of the resources and measurements that we have started to conduct and show you how you can also play a role if you're interested in measurements, which I'm sure all of you are. I will share my screen and just walk you through a couple of resources that are available. I will start with the Pulse website or platform or dashboard available from the Internet Society. This is where we provide a lot of measurement information. We have several projects that are going on in relation to measurements. The first one is shutdowns. So if you go to, perhaps I should put this, maybe Amreesh, kindly, if you could put the link on the chat so that those on the call can see. So on this pulse.internetsociety.org platform or front end or dashboard, however you'd like to call it, we are providing or curating all the information that we get in relation to measurements. We have information about shutdowns, and when you go there, you'll see a very nice interactive map covering current shutdowns that are going on across the globe. We also have data in relation to enabling technologies that we are measuring and how deployment is going on right now. So you can see there HTTPS, IPv6, and TLS 1.3 in terms of current percentage that is being run on the internet as of the measurements and data we are receiving right now. Then I'll show this final one, which I'm going to discuss with, which is resilience. This is where we will have visualization of all the measurements we are going to be doing in relation to internet resilience. My colleague Amreesh and Dieudonné and also Henok will talk about the measurement infrastructure we have. But if you'd like to read more about what MIRA is about and how it all started, and the white paper of how we came to conducting these measurements, you can go and find everything on that pulse.internetsociety.org/resilience website. And you'll find this paper here that we're calling the MIRA project overview, where we are covering how we came up with the project and our approach to conducting the measurements. So we've conducted the MIRA project right now for about a year and a half now, roughly. We signed an MOU with AFRINIC last year. And, I'm getting a bit of, okay, thanks. So we have been conducting this for about 1.5 years right now. And we started last year with the MOU, but the initial project work started around the beginning of 2020. So I'll quickly go through some of the milestones that we have right now. Just give me 1 second to present my screen. I hope you can all see that. So what we've done so far is we've signed the MOU with AFRINIC. We published the MIRA white paper, which I've shown is available on the MIRA page there on the Pulse website. We've tested and deployed some measurement infrastructure in Africa. We're going to go through how all that works. We've also tested how to visualize some of the measurements we're carrying out. We're also going to demonstrate how that looks like. We have developed something we're calling the Internet Resilience Index, which are going to use to score countries, and that will be a figure which, when you as the reader see it, you'll be able to understand the level of internet resilience in that country, how good the connectivity in that country is. And just very recently, in fact, a couple of weeks back, we've automated some of the data collection that we're going to use for the Internet Resilience Index, and my colleague Amreesh is going to talk about that. Our next steps for the rest of the year and perhaps a bit of 2022, beginning of 2022, we're increasing the probe outreach. Right now, we've covered about 12 countries. We want to increase that. We're going to go through that as well. We want to have a very nice dashboard on the Pulse page. We have tested it on Google Data Studio, but we want to provide it on the Pulse page as well. Then we also want to provide updates just like this one in a more periodic manner. We are going to start with one every quarter, and then with feedback from the community here, we're going to see if we're going to need to increase that. We're also looking at expanding our partnerships, and people who are interested in measurements, or organizations or groups, we are interested in partnering. And finally, one thing we're continuing to do is improvements of how we're carrying out the measurements, which you're going to see shortly from my colleagues. So I'd like to stop here and hand over to my colleague Amreesh, who will talk about the measurements and a bit of the Internet Resilience Index. And thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I will just share my screen now. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes. Okay.
All right, so welcome everybody. So as my colleagues mentioned, this is an update of the work that AFRINIC and the Internet Society have been carrying on the measuring internet resilience in Africa. I'm having, okay, all right. Yeah, please mute yourself if you're not speaking, because otherwise we'll have echo. Yeah, the idea of the project, as you can see from the screen here, is to collect data from devices called MIRA pods. And some of you have already been approached to host a MIRA pod. So we are very thankful to you to actually helping us growing the network of measurement devices in Africa. And the more devices we have and the better coverage we'll have, the better the view we will also have of the African internet. So the system, which is called MIRA, is actually collecting information from the devices. And also we are collecting data from secondary sources available on the internet. And those sources are very varied. They can come from BGP data from the routing table, or they can come from PCH, who has very extensive data on IXPs, for example. And we have built what we call a data pipeline, where we put everything together and then we do some analysis. And then through some API calls, we can now present the data for you, people to have a good understanding of what's happening on the ground. So today, we will show you a little bit of the data that we have collected, that we are collecting, and also how it look like. So first of all, this is maybe I'll increase that a little. So we have been using right now Data Studio, which is a dashboard platform that allows us to build a platform and create visualizations. So on this, what you can see here on this little map is where are the pods located. So as we mentioned before, we have around 25 pods in 12 countries, and soon we are hoping to cover many more countries and also many more networks. On the right, you can see the different pods, their locations, which operator they are connected to, the amount of data they're currently using, because that's also a concern that the hosts have, how much data are the pods themselves consuming. If you have connected the pod on a fixed line, it's not too much of an issue. But if you're using your data on a 4G connection, then it can be an issue. So it's important for us to be very transparent on how much data our pods are using. Then we have right now we are collecting information on the bandwidth. So what is the size of the bandwidth, the download value, the upload value, and the minimum RTT to getting some echo here. And minimum RTT, which is the latency to the server, speed test server. Here actually it is the MLab, because we are using MLab's speed test platform. So it is an MLab server, which we use as target to run those measurements. So we have plotted some graphs about, for example, here the locations, what are the median download, median upload, and RTT. And right now, the type of test we are running is called NDT7, Network Diagnostic Test, version 7, which we're running. And in the future, we can include more tests here. For example, we could include speed tests, the UCLA speed test test, or we could incorporate other types of measurements such as DNS resolution time, so on and so forth. So the pods, what we call the pods itself, is managed by a system here called Balena Cloud, which is a cloud system which allows us to control all these devices centrally. And as you can see here, these are all the countries where we have devices. And on these devices, we have several services running. So, for example, in this one, this is a test pod on which we are running DNS-related measurements. But on some other devices, these are normal devices which we would be running the speed test. For example, let's take Benin. And this one is running the normal speed test, the NDT7 speed test. And this is what is actually providing us the data, as I have explained here, and sending this data to our database. So we have done a few visualization. So if you are yourself a pod host, you can have access to this dashboard. It's not completely public yet because it is still work in progress. But if you are hosting a pod, you have the privilege now to come and have access to this dashboard and also see what are the measurements that we are also collecting from your devices. So you can come here and select your device. For example, if you're based in Kenya, you can come and select Kenya and you will get all the information from what's happening there. On the dashboard, we are also playing with existing data sets. So here, for example, we are using speed test data from UCLA. And here what we have done is we did a plot of the UCLA data. So UCLA works, I'm sure you're all familiar with the UCLA speed test. So when you go on Google, you search for speed test, it is the first link that you get. And when you click on that link, it runs a speed test, giving you indication of your bandwidth, upload and download, and sometimes also the latency to the speed test server. So UCLA collects this data, and the good thing is they also provide this data to the public, and we have used the public data sets to plot these graphs here. And here as well, you can navigate. So right now we only have data for 2021, but eventually, because UCLA has data for the past 10 years, we can continue populating this so that we can see also the growth of bandwidth in Africa over the years. And you can also select by country. So for example, if you're interested in a country, let's take DRC, this gives you the median values, median being what are the values that have been observed the most in these countries. If you select, of course, several countries, then you can make a comparison. You can compare and contrast between the countries as well. Moving on, so UCLA speed test is not the only one providing speed test data. So Measurement Lab, MLab, they are also running speed tests, and they also have a very extensive data set on speed tests around the world. And what we have done for our MIRA dashboard, we have just selected all the countries in our region, and we can also select by the date range and also select by the countries, and we can also compare and contrast the countries between each other. But this one only focusing on the MLab data. Eventually, what we can do is also compare what result you're getting on NUCLA versus the result you're getting on other types of speed tests. And finally, we mentioned that we are doing something called the Internet Resilience Index, which is a score that we give to a country based on a set of the indicators that we have analyzed. First of all, we have collected data on, and then we have analyzed, and then merged together, we have a final score, which gives an indication of the resilience of the country. So what are the metrics that we have used to calculate that resilience? So first of all, we say that resilience has 4 pillars. The first one being infrastructure, second one performance, third one security, and the fourth one market readiness. Infrastructure is everything about the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure of the country, for example, the cable ecosystem, or the network coverage, the 4G or 3G or 2G network coverage, and then everything which helps building a robust infrastructure, for example, data centers or IXPs in the country. So these constitute the pillar of the infrastructure. In terms of performance, we are looking into the performance of fixed and mobile networks. And this is data that we are collecting from UCLA speed tests. And for security, we are looking into how much of IPv6 adoption has there been in your country, or how much of HTTPS adoption has there been in your country. We are looking into the DNSSEC ecosystem as well. Is your country validating DNSSEC queries? And if so, how much? What is the percentage? Has your CCTLD been signed? We are also looking at the routing hygiene, manners. So you must have heard of manners. So manners provide a score, but the score of manners itself is broken down into several aspects. For example, global validation, entries in the routing registry, entries in RPKI, anti-spoofing, and things like that. So altogether, we have a score that we inject in our model. For security, we have the number of secure internet servers that we find in your country. We incorporate the Global Cyber Security Index. We have information about the DDoS potential. So is your country representing a risk towards other countries? So then this is used in our model here. And finally, and also very importantly, is the market readiness. How is your market structure in your country? Is internet affordable in the country? Because you could have a very resilient internet, but if it's not affordable, then it defeats the purpose. So is your market, or is internet services in your country affordable? How about market concentration? Is there a dominating network in your country, or a set of maybe only a few dominant players in the country, which can give us some indication about possibly a country shutting down the internet very easily when they have control. And then in terms of traffic localization, the more traffic is localized, the better it is, because then you're using less international bandwidth. And also, in case there is an outage, your network in the country is still fully functional. So what is the status of traffic localization in your country? So altogether, the indicators, we assign weights, and so for the dimensions and the pillars. So the weights are based on information that we have collected by talking to different stakeholders, who basically told us, like, okay, for the cable ecosystem, for example, the submarine cable ecosystem is, let's say, 50% important, and the percentage of people who are close to this fiber connection is also like 50% important. So by getting those information about the importance of the different indicators, we could assign weights, and added together, what we have now is the index. So this is what we have tried to display here, and we can already see some indication about which are the best countries in Africa. For example, South Africa, Mauritius, and Seychelles are on the top three in Africa. So you can also find more information about what is the score that they have scored on the infrastructure side, performance, security, and market readiness. We can have a look at the last, let's say, 5 or 10 countries, and you can see some of them which are scoring very low, for example, on infrastructure or on market readiness, and this is why basically they are so low in the score. So in the dashboard, what you can do here is also compare countries. So here it's showing for everyone, but you can also compare countries. So let's say we can take DRC, Côte d'Ivoire, Egypt, Ethiopia, and you can have some more visual information about first of all what score they have scored on the pillars, and also on the dimensions. So this tool basically helps you visualize the data and also compare between countries. Compare this between countries. So I'll stop here. So maybe you can ask questions, and then we will answer. Do you have questions?
Thanks, Amreesh. There is one question sent in private. So the question is in relation to the spreadsheet you've shown the weights. So the question is, I think one of the weight was 0%, the weight for local content. So there was a question if that was a mistake, or we are trying something out there.
Yeah, so it's not a mistake. Local content for the moment, when we put 0, it means that we have no data for that. So, but this is also work in progress. So this local content should technically come in the coming month, and then we can assign a weight to it, and then it will appear on the dashboard as well.
Thanks, Amreesh. I'm not seeing another question. There's a question from Crystal, who's able to use or run the MIRA devices. So perhaps I can answer that. So right now we are using a structure of working through our Internet Society chapters to manage who is allocated a probe, or the MIRA probes or the MIRA devices. So the devices that are active right now are deployed via our ISOC chapters in the country. So what we advise is we are still rolling them out. We've rolled out about 28 probes right now. My colleagues Dieudonné and Henok are going to speak more about that. But right now we are working through ISOC chapters. Then once we stabilize the infrastructure and we are comfortable, we may be able to expand to new ways to reach new probe hosts. But right now we are working through ISOC chapters. Okay, I'm not seeing another question. Okay, there's a question. Why is it a challenge using 4G? Amreesh, you want to answer that one?
Yeah. Well, on the technical side, there's no challenge, but the challenge comes with the fact that 4G usually comes with a cost. So unless if you have like an unlimited 4G connection, then it's not so much of an issue. But let's say you're buying data packages and on your mobile, and the pods, by running bandwidth tests, as you can see, can use up to 40 or 50 megabytes per test. So if you run, we run 6 tests per day. So let's say it's 50 times 6, it's 300 Mbps. 300 MB per day, which can be quite heavy for someone who is paying for 4G connectivity. So that's why we tend to emphasize mostly on fixed networks. But if someone really want to use their 4G, then Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, there is also like a process with the ISOC chapter where they can get some funding to pay for that connectivity as well.
Yeah, that's correct, Amreesh. So from the probes or the hosts we have, we identified that is a challenge. And let me also take this opportunity to thank all our probe hosts. So we are working out a way to help those who would like to host probes. So you're going to be hearing more of that from Henok later. Yeah. So I see. Let me see if there are any questions. Related to my previous question, challenges at operational, technical, collaboration, logistics, etc. How can they be fixed? So Yazid, your question I think could be addressed in the next presentation by Dieudonné. So maybe we can hold on to that. Then question from Jasper. We are looking forward to an experiment on Arduino trials on creating these devices in Zimbabwe. Thank you, MIRA team. Yeah. So Jasper, that's a good question. So right now we've piloted with Raspberry Pi 4s. They've been quite stable, and we think we are confident in how those work. In terms of we've not tested other platforms, but there's no reason why we can't test something like Arduino in the near future. Okay, so I'm watching the time. I think perhaps we could move to the next presentation. Amreesh, if you are done, if you have any final comments.
No final comments, but I wanted to say that, also thank all the hosts for hosting the pods. So as you can imagine, the pods themselves comes with a cost, so we cannot have thousands of them. So the idea is to have a limited number, but to keep them alive as much as possible. So to have more green dots on the map instead of red points, because it's they cost quite a lot of money. And what we are looking for is like good hosts that can keep them alive and also be very responsive. And that's what Henok is going to talk about, the monitoring aspect of the pods. Over to you, Henok.
Thank you, Amreesh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Henok. So I basically help the MIRA project teams in different ways. So I provide the technical support to make sure this Balena OS, they have the proper Balena OS image for each country. And also we do any technical troubleshootings to monitor, like troubleshooting to put them online. And also we do daily monitoring. So we inform the host that when their device is offline, So we send them notification to to assist in putting this device online. So we try as much to make sure that these devices are connected, and because very important for such kind of projects that they stay connected, so that we have a good quality data. So there are some work that we are doing with regards to automating this kind of some of these tasks. So my colleague Dieudonné will brief you on that. With regards to the deployment of the pods, so we basically work with the chapters. So we have a focal point for each country. So that focal point is basically the single point of contact for us to recruit volunteers and to make sure that these volunteers are from different ICPs, so that the different ICPs are represented in this measurements. So this is basically the monitoring aspect, so and the deployment aspects. So with this, I will hand over the floor to Dieudonné.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Henok. So from what Henok has said, we can understand that the way he has been monitoring the hosts has been to via emails and sending the different hosts private messages regarding which pod is online and which one is not. But that has brought in one challenge, that of the response time from some of the hosts, and basically each time sending emails, that doesn't seem very efficient. So we've tried to start automating that process of monitoring which host, monitoring the host and tracking which pods are online. So, and regarding that, we've then used information that is provided by the Balena OS, which hosts the different pods, and using that, we've tried to automate that monitoring using a bot on Telegram. So I'll share my screen very quickly to show what I mean by that bot process. So we've written some code that basically uses the Balena API to fetch information about the status of the different pods online. And so what the pod basically does, I'll just do a small demo. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the hosts, all the hosts of the pods, once they're in Telegram, we've developed a bot that is called MIRA pod. So all you need to do is to search in the Telegram and look for MIRA pod, and once that is found, you'll okay, since I've interacted with it, it will show some previous messages here. But basically, what we've implemented is different commands that users can push. To try to talk to the bot, and then the bot will give them information about the status of these devices. So one example of a command can be, okay, if one tries like telling the bot to start. So this is a private communication between any host of the pods with the bot itself. So if you click start, for example, the bot directly answers the person, hey, the name, okay, just give me a command, and I will sort things out for you. So there are different commands that we've implemented, and as you might guess, the most important information a host wants to see is if the pod is online or it's offline. So we've implemented another command that we call online devices, that might be changed to something else, but currently we're saying online devices. So what this command does is that it replies so it replies to the.
You can just show the result you had on the top there. It's the same.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think the.
That's fine. That's fine. Just.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. I think there's a latency issue with the command. So if you can see the previous command I've sent here, it has finally replied. So there was a latency issue. So once the command is sent to the pod, to the bot basically replies the host about if each pod is online or not. So here currently, I am configured as one of the hosts on the Balena side where the pods are hosted. So since since I'm configured there as a host, I am able to see the information about my particular host, my particular pod, if it's online or not. And so can be done if you push a command like offline devices. So it should reply, say, telling the user which hosts are offline currently. So we can say it will recognize the user who sent the message, and then basically does the API calls to Balena, and then replies with information about which host. So currently you can say it says the pod in Kigali with its ID is currently offline, and the one in Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, Antananarivo, Harare, and so on. And so since Rwanda has two, that's one it's showing two of them. So that's the bit of the work we've been doing in trying to automate the monitoring of this source. So after this, what we could then do there is to do something like schedule where we can schedule these messages, and to track every time when a pod goes offline, then we can basically send one of the hosts a message on Telegram saying, hey, your pod has just gone offline. Please see how you can replug it in, instead of sending emails that one might not receive anytime. And one of course, some information for curious users can search for if they want to know some information about the MIRA bot. Can they just push a command or hey/MIRA bot, and then it will reply with some information about the bot. So which we haven't set yet, but basically, yeah, it can deploy to all of sorts of commands that we've set. So that's all from me. Back to you, Kevin, Amreesh, to cover the rest of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dieudonné. Yeah, so I think we were almost done with whatever we wanted to present. So if you have questions, please share them with us. Yeah, Abiyadi was saying that he cannot find the MIRA bot on Telegram. So I think if you search by the handle MIRA bots bot, you can find it, but you can only interact with it if you're a host yourself. So we have a list of hosts. So if we find your name or your Telegram handle as a host, then you will be able to interact with it. But be mindful that it is still under development. So sometimes it is on, sometimes it is off.
Yes, and just to reiterate something that we said in the chat, as we've been going along with the project, we've sort of been making adjustments based on how the project is evolving. So, for example, the MIRA pod bot, the Telegram interaction was not really in our initial plans, but as we've gone along, we've seen that the taking care of the infrastructure, making sure the devices are online, can be automated, and that's the great work that Dieudonné has done in looking after the devices and automating that, and also Henok making sure the devices are online. So as we continue to get more hosts and increase the number of devices in the region, we are looking at using the Telegram bot to automate a number of the tasks of looking after the devices and making sure they are online. And the reason it's important to keep those devices online is because those will be providing live measurements. So they will be providing real-time measurements of how fast is an internet link, what's the throughput, what's the latency, and so on. Amreesh, I see a question. Is it possible to get more detail about the probes, like current latency, traffic? Dieudonné, do you want to answer that, perhaps?
Sorry, could you repeat? I didn't quite get you.
Yes, so the question is from Falilu. Is it possible to get more details from the probes, like current latency or traffic, basically the measurements that the probe is conducting?
Yes, all that information, as long as it's available on the Balena basically UI, then we could basically add it to the sort of the different metrics that we collecting through the API, and then make it available on the bot side to send to the user. So this is where I think the host will then be useful to give us feedback and give us basically an overview of what they would want to know about their pods, apart from their online or offline statuses. Thank you. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent suggestion, Falilu. Thank you. We right now we do not have plans to provide this type of information through the bot, but why not? So we take note of that suggestion. Thank you. Given there's a question about the regulators.
Yes, so I see a question from Alpha Abdullah Tiam. Hello, everybody. Congratulations for this initiative. Do you consider giving every national telecommunications regulator a probe so that they can help achieve MIRA goal across the continent? So the short answer is yes, we are looking at partnerships for expanding the measurements and data collection, and also once we have the data visualized, we're hoping also to work with others who are interested in the research part and maybe doing doing reports and comparisons. Why are some countries in Africa better connected or having better speeds than others? Are there maybe policy reasons that regulators could help address? So the short answer, Alpha, is yes, and we are working to see how we can get more partners involved in this. So I think via the mailing list, we are going to be sharing more information about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I've put the link to the mailing list again. So please make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss out any future notifications. So as we said earlier, we want to give you the community update on the MIRA project on a quarterly basis, and we will use this specific channel, the AFRINIC Measurement Working Group, to provide you updates. And also, please keep an eye on this mailing list, because we intend to come with also interesting talks about internet measurements in Africa in general. So people doing interesting research will also be invited and talk, and you can also join us to for some discussion on some interesting topic going forward.
Yes, and just to add to what Amreesh has mentioned about the mailing list, you can also follow the Pulse Twitter handle, where we also send various updates about measurement work we're doing in Africa. So I presented the Pulse website. There is a Twitter handle that you can follow where we send several updates about the work that's going on Pulse. And we're hoping very soon, sometime in Q4, we'll be presenting or visualizing the data we have on, we've processed via MIRA on the Pulse dashboard or front end. So I'll put the link on the chat on how you can follow the Pulse Twitter handle.
We have a question from Sami. Kevin, you want to take that?
Yes, so let me do the question. So Sami asks, I have a few broad questions. What inspired MIRA and how does it compare to existing initiatives like Atlas Probes and PubSona? So I can answer that. So a bit of that is on the Pulse website for internet resilience, but the inspiration behind the MIRA project was that when we did an analysis of, and by we I mean both ISOC and AFRINIC, in terms of the available data about measurements in the Africa region, it was very low. So what we decided to do was to work together with AFRINIC to increase not only the number of measurements being carried out in the region in terms of active devices being measured, but in addition, also determine a score for a country. So for example, it's easy to say maybe connectivity in this country, they have so many fiber cables, but how if you wanted to score that as a connectivity or resilience score, how would you score that? So if you go to the Pulse page, I'll show that. I'll provide the link on the chat again. We intend to provide a mechanism to carry out the measurements and also a very simple to understand manner to display the measurements we find out, so that whether you're an internet engineer or a regulator or just a normal internet user who wants to find out how well your country is doing in terms of resilience, in terms of if there is a breakdown in connectivity in your country, how well is your country connected? Does it have backup? Does it have resiliency? Does it have redundancy? So the score that we're going to give, which Amreesh presented, which you're calling the Internet Resilience Index score, that will help you determine very quickly how well countries in Africa are doing in terms of resilience. So I hope that answers the question, Sami, but I'll provide a few more links on the chat.
And also to add to that, so all the systems, measurement systems that we are using in the pod is not new. We are actually reusing existing systems such as Atlas. We have done some experiment where we have installed Atlas on the pod, and we are also using currently Measurement Lab to run speed tests. In the future, we can add other types of measurement devices as well. So it's just reusing and putting it on a platform, existing tools, so we are not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, that's thanks, Amreesh. That's important to note. We are not reinventing the wheel here. We're just using existing measurements, combining that to present in a very easy to understand manner. Okay, I'm not seeing any more. Okay, thanks, Sami, for your question. I am not seeing any more questions. Crystal asks, is pod a MIRA device or something else? Yeah, so sorry for the confusion, Crystal. We use sometimes the terms interchangeably, but pod and probe it refers to the MIRA Raspberry Pi 4s that we're using to carry out the measurements. So if you're not familiar with the Raspberry Pi 4, it's just a small computer, and we are calling them MIRA pods or MIRA probes, and those are what we're using to carry out the measurements for this particular project. Yeah, and if you go to the Pulse link, you will see more information about that. May I have the commands about the MIRA bot? This is a question from Justin. Yes, I think so. I think we can share that on the mailing list. So please make sure you're part of the mailing list. I think we'll send a bunch of information there by tomorrow.
Yeah, but as mentioned, the bot is not 100% ready. So that's one. And secondly, you can only interact with it if you're hosting a pod yourself. So yes, any other person cannot interact with the pod, of course. With the pod, with the bot, sorry.
Okay, I don't see more questions or comments. And we are just coming up to time for 1 hour. So I think we could stop here for now and just ask you to ensure you've joined the mailing list, the AFRINIC Measurement Working Group mailing list. Thanks to everyone who's made a presentation today. So Dieudonné, Henok, Amreesh, and Arthur from AFRINIC. We'd like to thank you all for attending the event. We hope you found it useful. We hope to have this every quarter, but we'd like to get your feedback. So please share your input via the AFRINIC mailing list. So Amreesh, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I just wrote in the chat box, if you have questions or you're interested yourself in hosting a pod, so please don't hesitate to contact us at Pulse, on pulse@isoc.org. Thank you. And yeah, make sure you join the mailing list. We need more people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Back to AFRINIC. Cedrick, are you in?
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Amreesh. Thank you, Dieudonné and Henok. It was a very interesting session talking about internet measurement and resilience in Africa. And we look forward to the next quarterly update. And as Amreesh and Kevin say, please join the mailing list, join the project. There's a lot of things that can be done. So we really count on your support and your full participation. And also for those who are interested, remember, please contact your local chapter for them to then escalate to get the MIRA report. Thank you very much. And we wish you a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.